Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hey, I'm Sarah O'Kelly from Skipper's Review, and today I've been invited down to Florida's Saltwater Brewery. So I'm here with President and co-founder Chris Grove. So welcome to Boat Radio.
Thanks for having me on.
So Saltwater Brewery has made headlines lately because of your biodegradable 6-pack can holder.
Yeah. So it's been pretty crazy in terms of the feedback and the public attention that we've had on it. So.
And now this can holder, it has the potential to save a lot of marine life. I mean, flying life, crawling life, anything that could choke or eat or get caught around its body, which is, I mean, that's amazing. And I would look at it and I think, why didn't somebody think of this? You know, it's crazy. So you guys did, and I really, obviously, I want to talk about your rings, but I also want to talk about your main product, which of course is beer.
Yes.
So a lot of people, I mean, they drink beer, and maybe I'll get to try it later, I don't know. But they drink beer, and they don't know what's in it. What is in beer? What makes up beer?
Well, beer is made of 4 ingredients: water, malted barley or wheat, hops, and yeast.
How do you differentiate one beer from the other beer, let's say?
The difference of styles come from both the malt bill, which is all the grain, and also the hops. So the mixes between the light and dark malts and the caramel and roasted malts, those will give you the style, color, and kind of the overall body. Then the hops will give it the aroma and the bitterness. So a balance between those two will kind of encapsulate any beer.
So how do you have your own, obviously you must, right? Your beer is unique, so you came up with your own recipes. How did you guys do that?
Yeah. So we came up with all of our own recipes here at Saltwater Brewery. We've been brewing for about 3 years, and we've been brewing before that at homebrew level. So we did a lot of homebrewing to get us to the skill of understanding how it all works together. And then to come up with our own formula recipes, we kind of went around and found our favorite beers in certain styles, and then we would all sit down and discuss why each beer was our favorite in that style. So it's kind of a roundtable decision, so we all enjoy it, and also to really kind of create something unique.
You enjoy it?
Oh, we love it. We love it.
Especially going around testing it.
Yeah, a little too much. R&D kind of takes a hold sometimes.
So you find a beer you like. Do the people that you found the beer with, do they reveal their secret recipe to you, or can you just tell by the taste what you need to adjust or what you need to put in there?
Yeah, it's a refined palate, so we tell by the taste. So it just Are
you Irish?
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, basically it comes through experience and understanding what you want and where you're at. So it's a baseline, and every beer is always growing. There's always something you can find. Even at the top tier, there's always a little more you can get out of it. So it's exciting. It's a science and a craft at the same time.
So science, was that something that you did at school? Were you interested in science?
I was a mechanical engineer for a few years, and then loved numbers and switched over to finance. So just
perfect combination for this. Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty awesome. And then I decided to kind of blend a few things of my passions: beer, the ocean, and numbers, and that's why I'm in the brewing business. So.
And if you are here with 2 of your friends from school, right?
Yeah. So myself, Peter Aggerty, and Bo Eaton, we all went to Gulfstream School growing up in elementary school. So it was a little school by the sea, they called it. And so we always used to have English class at the beach, and it was pretty cool. So we've been connected to the ocean since the beginning. And that's kind of since inception of the brewery, we really have focused on the ocean, hence the name Saltwater Brewery. So we really focused on expanding with charities that are more well known. So as we grow with distribution points throughout counties, we have the same scalability with our distributor as we do with these charities. So Coastal Conservation Association, Surf Rider Foundation, Ocean Foundation. As we grow into new distributors, we grow with those county chapters too to help keep awareness up. So
awesome.
yeah, it's always been about the ocean. And to go to the edible six-pack side, it's kind of came through passion.
But how did you come to the conclusion that this leftover stuff that you were giving to pig farms before, right? Or
Yes,
to
yep,
farms,
yep.
How did you come, was there just a glup there and it was really hard and you said, you know what, maybe we can...
So the seaweed edible six-pack drink had been actually done, and it was great. The idea was great, but scaling it was not, and getting it out there. And no one really liked it because the fact that it take from the ocean and it had to grow in the ocean. So there's a lot of negatives with the positive. And when we realized it was a fiber base and we had problems with someone actually coming to pick up our grain, we realized that, hey, why not just replace that fiber with this? And so it was serendipity, and we thought it was a cool idea, and we posted it on our Facebook page, and then it just went viral, and we got over 3.5 billion impressions, within 50 days. So we had a lot of publicity, and it's still going, and it's amazing the different people that have reached out. We're focusing right now on creating a regenerative ocean alliance, so a bunch of different companies coming together looking at upstream packaging. So instead of the consumer being responsible for just recycling the plastic, we're now looking to companies to be responsible to get rid of the plastic in the packaging. So we're trying to create an alliance to get that going. It's also comes from Kick the Plastic campaign from Costa Del Mar, who has Patagonia, GoPro, a couple outfitters. It's been a really big movement. So we're trying to just unite all the different companies and make a bigger movement. So
this, of course, has helped your beer sales as well, right? Because it's put you on the map.
Yeah, it's definitely let us be known throughout the nation and further. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's just been it's been a roller coaster of fun and a lot of work nonstop, and we're just trying to keep up with all the demand and all the different possibilities and ways we can help out the environment and sell more beer. So.
And it's funny how everything just seems to, like we were saying earlier, when you do what you're passionate about and what you love, it just does seem to come together, right?
Yeah.
Which it did for you guys. So paint the picture for me. How were you like all sitting around watching, I don't know, something on the television, and you said, you know what, we should make beer. How did that come about?
That came about. So
was it you three guys?
It was the group of us, and then my parents were also involved. So I was living in San Diego for 8 years. And then one of our other co-founders was living in Texas for a few years. So we saw the scenes growing there, and we kept coming home, not being able to get an IPA.
Meaning like craft beer.
Craft beer.
What exactly is IPA? What does that
mean?
mean?
IPA is an India Pale Ale, and it's a hoppy version of a Pale Ale. So it's got the bitterness and the aroma of a very strong, potent, and usually higher in alcohol, around 6.5%.
That's the key.
Yeah, it gives you a nice little buzz.
For the younger people.
Yeah. Saves you money too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
so that's why IPA is so popular. Okay. All right, go on.
Yeah, a lot of flavor in it, and we really came together because there was a big gap in the market, and we saw that we could sell beer that we wanted to drink that we couldn't get. So we thought, why not marry our passions, the ocean and beer, and go for it. And in the meantime, give back to the ocean, because that's what we cared about most. So that way we felt great about it every day. Not saying we don't love making beer every day. It's just, it's everything.
So making beer. Okay, so I'm me, and I decide I want to make beer. Where do you go to get the equipment? I mean, I see all the equipment out here. What we have are like huge, tall, stainless steel looking barrels. There's about 6 or 7 of them, right?
Yeah. There's actually 13 in total. They're hidden though, so they're hard to see and count. Mm-hmm. But Yeah, they're custom built. So everything in the brewing industry is usually custom built or it's retrofitted from dairy equipment. So dairy has a very similar style need for the tanks. But basically you have the brew house where the actual brew process is done. And that's the first that takes about 6 to 8 hours. And then you have the fermentation space, which is what
So
we're
what's
looking at.
fermentation exactly?
Fermentation is the active process of the yeast eating the sugar. So
Okay.
the conversion of the sugar in the yeast from into ethanol and carbon dioxide. So it actually gives it a carbonation and alcohol. So it takes the sugar, which is so after you brew, let's start at the beginning. We take the grain, we crack it, and we put it into the tun. Let it sit there for an hour, let the starches convert to sugar. So that's all of our grain in the water added. Next, we have a false bottom, so we strain out that sugary water, put it into a big kettle. There we boil it for about an hour, hour and a half, and then we add the third ingredient, which is the hops. So the hops add the bitterness and the aromatics. So you start some at the beginning and some at the end, again, to balance out the flavor you want. After that, you cool it down and put it into a fermentation vessel, which is what we're looking at right now. So these are different, each one is its own style beer. Some can hold 2 different brews, so 2 whole brews in one. So that way it's more efficient.
How does that work?
So that way,
Is it divided in the middle or something?
it's not divided in the middle, you just push it all together. So it can start to actively go and you can actually add more nutrients to it. So it's just like adding fuel. The way that we look at it is everything before the tank is just the fuel for the engine and the yeast is the engine. So the yeast is the active part of everything. So we put the cold wort, it's called, so the sugar water, you cool it down from the kettle and put it into the tank, and then you add the yeast, which actively eat the sugar. So the fermentation process takes about 2 weeks, and the more sugar means the more alcohol usually.
That
Not
was my
always.
next question,
Yeah.
actually. How do you determine the alcohol level? So some more sugar determines the alcohol.
Yes,
Okay.
for general. But basically the idea is that the more sugar equals longer time for fermentation also. So 2 weeks is about the average for about 6 to 7% beer. After that, you filter out all the yeast. You actually cool it down and make all the yeast fall. And that way you can then filter it out. So that way you have a clear beer. Next, you put it into another tank. It's called the bright tank. And here we're just making it a lot colder again, and carbonating it more. So the natural carbonation is like a champagne carbonation, where it's small, dances on your tongue. And then the forced carbonation, what we're doing in the bright tank, is a Coca-Cola style. So it's big bubbles, rolls over your tongue. And the reason we do the two are for the looks and the smell. So when it's served, it actually will smell good, and it also feels good in your mouth. So it's a combination. After that, then about 12 hours in that tank, we put it into a can or a keg. So,
And then voila.
So about 2 weeks for the whole process, from start to finish.
So now the IPAs are higher volume in alcohol generally. Why is it that the regular breweries don't make their beers higher in volume? I thought there was a legal rate that you had to be at or
No,
something.
it's actually it's the opposite, because they can sell twice as many of them with less alcohol. So you need twice as, so that's why there's a lot of beers out there. So there's 2 styles of beers in general. There's an ale and a lager, and that comes down to that 4th ingredient, the yeast. And it's just a family of the yeast. So the lagers take longer, are less alcohol, and cleaner. So that's what Red Stripe is, Corona, Bud Light, Miller Lite, any of those that you know, basically. Those are lagers. And then you have an ale, which is more so what the craft scene is known for. So it's kind of the new world. So.
So people are more accepting of a duller kind of beer rather than the bright, crystal clear of a Heineken or a...
Well, yeah, it's not even the duller. It'd be the other way around. The Heineken and whatnot is duller than what we have in terms of flavor. Our flavor.
I'll just have to try it.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little
I'm
taste.
definitely gonna have to have a
Looks
taste.
like we have to take you down there and get you a couple beers.
Absolutely. So, let's talk a little bit more about the rings then. These biodegradable, awesome rings. Are you working on getting it into other breweries and getting it kind of just to be accepted that this is what should be going on and not the plastic, and how are you going about doing that?
Yeah. So we've talked. A lot of breweries have reached out. A couple hundred to, and then a lot of large players even internationally, and they really want to get on board. And it's not just the beer world. There's anyone in the beverage space.
Yeah.
And then also there's other applications too for other types of packaging. So we've been talking to a lot of different industries, and that's why we're focusing on kind of creating this alliance. So it's not just the beer industry, it's a bunch of different industries.
So how cost effective would it be for somebody who's not in the beer industry? Because you use your leftover ingredients, whereas they won't have that.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. And that the effort would be a united effort, and that's why it's going to take an alliance to really make it a global impact. Because there is going to be excess that the brewery has on top of what fulfills their needs.
Okay.
So there'll be excess that can fulfill others' needs from the brewery. So those are the different logistical plans. I mean, this is a long-term plan. Yeah, it's not a overnight, turn on the button. Yeah, it's amazing at how far this has gone and how short of amount of time we've been dealing with it. So
You had, you started, I think it was 50,000, was it? And what are you up to now?
Oh, so the thing is, we've stopped due to the fact that we have such demand that we're looking at rescaling everything. So we did 500 prototypes at the beginning, refined it, got a process down, and now we're looking at some other locations to produce it because it's such demand. So now it's it's a scaling aspect and a legal aspect, and there's just...
So there's no more in the back shed doing it. Now you gotta get the big warehouse and actually really get to work.
It's amazing, the type of people that want to help grow it. So we're just trying to get it so it gets there. But it's amazing.
So the people that are helping grow it are the environmental people or the money people?
It's from every angle. I mean, whether it be other breweries, other beverage companies, other brand-related and orientation companies, whether it be apparel or...
Are the breweries doing it because of the effectiveness of how amazing it's going to be for the environment? Or are they doing it because it's cheaper for them than the plastic? Or
I think everything.
Everything.
I think everyone, in general, everyone wants to be more environmentally friendly. It's just a matter of convenience. That's kind of what dictates why people don't like it. Everyone feels good giving back. It's just there's never been an easy way to do it that they can also...
And what is the cost scale compared to the plastic?
As of now, it's pretty in line in terms of... Because you've already bought the grain, so now you're only adding a certain element in terms of to add to the mixture to create the binding. So it's not as horrible, but those are the sides that we're working on in terms of scaling. This was all made for us at the beginning, and then now we're trying to solve a world problem. So it's
three buddies from school are trying to solve a world problem. It's got to start somewhere.
It's amazing.
So the equipment needed to make the plastic rings, is that anywhere near close to? Can they reuse that for these or no?
So there are some very similar pieces of equipment that are being repositioned to be able to do things of this nature. So it's not that far away in terms of making something that can be implemented everywhere. It's just, again, making it all make sense. So
now your parents I'm in a barn right now. We're in the upstairs part of a barn. Everything else is down below where the hay would have been, I suppose. But so your parents had this barn, right?
Yeah. So this is an old historic building in Delray. It's the old feed and seed. So we like to say this mezzanine that we're in right now is where all the cattle grain used to go. We like to say it did a full circle, went from cattle grain back to human grain. So we've been
destined for grain.
Yeah, we've always loved this building. My parents have always tried to do something. It's west of where the main development is, so it was hard to get tenants at times. Saw an opportunity. Everyone was on board with the idea. We kind of just took a leap, and now we're here 2.5 years later.
Are they part of it now? Your parents? They're involved too?
They're more. They come help out, but they're not really. They're just excited. They're great cheerleaders, and they're active also, but they just want to be part of it.
You got it. They figured.
Yeah. It's been amazing though. So it's great. It's a family business, and it's great to be able to keep this building being used since it's such a symbolic building to the city. Atlantic High School used to actually take their photos in front of the building back in the day. So it's it's really cool to just be part of the city and kind of be a landmark here. So
You're probably working like crazy, right? Because especially now you're in the bar business on top of everything else. So your busy nights are Saturdays and Fridays. Do you have time for a social life? Are you in a relationship?
Yeah, I have a fiance.
Congratulations.
She's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, we've been together for about 5 years. No date yet, but it's coming.
You don't have time for that?
Yeah. we work together. She does a lot of the social media, so all this hype, we worked together on it. It was really fun and stressful, but it's been great. No life really outside of work, but because I love what I do, and starting these other companies and getting everything going is any free time I have is dedicated to that.
So was this idea like just a fleeting, fun, oh, you're crazy, we can't do that? Or was this really something you sat down and you deeply thought about it and you said, you know what? Even before you brought it up, was it in your head thinking about it for a while, the brewery?
The brewery, yeah. I mean, living in San Diego, I had friends that worked in the brewing scene, and I loved it. Across the street from my work was one of the better beer places, so I was always in it naturally, and I just never thought I could do it because it was such a far-fetched idea at the time. But a lot of due diligence, hours and hours every night after work for a year plus, kind of gave me enough of a confidence to be able to take the leap.
What was the work that you were doing for hours and hours?
So every night I'd go to different breweries. San Diego has like 100 plus breweries, so it was awesome to be able to go to all these different breweries and pick and choose kind of what you can and can't do, and if you had a perfect brewery, what it would be envisioned. So there's a few things here.
Research.
Yeah, a lot of research, a lot of talking. The whole community is amazingly friendly, and it's like a brotherhood. So people will show you their numbers. They'll show you exactly how it's done. I mean, it's for the culture and the craft, and that's why we were so excited to bring it here, because the scene here was so far behind. In terms of per capita for breweries, we were 47th in the nation. So we were really far behind, and I was in California, which was 3rd in the nation. So it was
which is good and not so good, because you're a rarity, but you have to introduce it to people.
100%. And so a large part about the last 5 years in Florida has just been education about craft beer. There's a half of them come in from an environment that already knows about it, but the other half are just oblivious. So ourselves, Funky Buddha, Cigar City, there's MIA Brewing, Wynwood. There's a lot of different breweries that there were only a handful at the beginning when we started. I think we were in the top like 100 or something when we started. So it's pretty crazy.
And now you're in Whole Foods, right? In
Yeah,
Fresh Market?
we're in Whole Foods, Fresh Markets. We're in some Publixes. We're looking to go throughout all Publixes soon. We're in Trader Joe's. Like I mean, it keeps going. Whole Foods, ABC, Crown. There's a lot of places, and we try to hit them all and make sure everyone feels loved. It's just a lot of legwork. So. Are
you a surfer, a fisherman, a diver, or what are you?
Everything. I'm an avid waterman, but every day I surf in San Diego out there. Here I fish as much as I can, get out there on the boat. I try to spearfish. I paddleboard when it's flat. You know, there's a bunch of different things. I've never lived further than a mile from the ocean. I don't think I ever can. So.
Do you think you're going to have to move out of here to a bigger space?
We are almost maxed out already. Yeah. So right now we just launched our 3rd can locale. It's a 3.7 easy to drink pale ale, so boat beer. That's going to increase our volume a lot, and we've been talking to a company, a contract brewer up in Lakeland to help our expansion. So as we build a new facility, we would be able to use them as a leaning post. Yeah, and then in the future also maybe a distillery too. So we got dreams.
Yeah, you do. Well, your dreams need to come through.
Hey,
so
hard work.
Why not? Yeah,
hard work
exactly.
and passion, like you said.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend if you have any dreams you want to do it after your normal job. You got to stay alive, and then just keep trucking whenever you have free time. So.
Well, Chris, it was a pleasure talking to you. I'll go down and try your beer.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for having me on.
I'm now downstairs at the bar at Saltwater Brewery, and we are going to do a taste testing, which is what I really came here for in the first place anyway. I'm with Dustin Jeffers, who is the brewmaster at Saltwater Brewery.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
And Dustin, he asked me, what do I like? Do I like coffee? What kind of beers do I like? So he has set up a range of little taster glasses for me to try. And they all have a little label on them. I've got 6 beers in front of me, and it's noon, so I might get a little bit jolly as the talk goes on. So the first one that I'm going to try is
our Sea Cow. So this is our milk stout. So you said you like kind of like Guinness and stuff like that. So Guinness is a stout. So Sea Cow is a stout, but we add lactose to it, so it keeps it a little sweeter. So yeast eats sugar, produces alcohol, but yeast can't eat lactose, so it keeps the beer a little sweeter. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So try that. Guinness is usually poured through with like a nitro tap. So this is all CO2, so it's not going to be as big of a mouthfeel as Guinness. But the flavor should be there.
Is there a certain way of tasting beer, like other than?
So beer, it's more fun than wine because so wine usually you smell it, swirl around, try some of it, and then a lot of people like spit it out. Beer, like when you swallow it, that's actually part of the whole flavor profile of beer. So you actually get to drink beer when you do tastings. But kind of the same way, you want to smell it first.
And it smells very much like Guinness.
Yep. So you should get some chocolate, some coffee off of it. So we use a lot of roasted grain, chocolate grain in it. And you get kind of that sweet smell off of it too, which is typical for a milk stout.
Okay, I'm going in.
Yep, and then you get to taste it.
I definitely taste a little bit of chocolate in there, right?
Yep. And it's cool, there's not actually any chocolate in it. It's just the grain profile gives you like a chocolate grain flavor. And then the roasted grain, there's no coffee in this one, but you get like coffee flavors in it because of the grain. And then when we do it,
it's got more fizz to it than Guinness does.
Yeah, so this is poured fully and carbonated fully with CO2, where Guinness, it's a CO2 nitro blend. So nitro, it gives it kind of tiny little bubbles, and it smooths it out a lot, and the mouthfeel, it's kind of like a bigger mouthfeel. So sometimes we do this, we'll keg it up, and then we'll nitronize it, and we'll pour it as a nitro beer. And then you'll get that flavor profile.
So you can chop and change it if you want. Okay. Yep. And it comes out good both ways.
Yeah, so
it's colder too than a Guinness would normally be.
Yeah. Some places will do Guinness on
It's America.
Cask. Yeah. So over in Europe, a lot of people have like cask ales. So you're pulling it, when you pour it, a cask is using kind of oxygen, and you're just hand pumping it out. So there's no CO2 push through it at all. So that's going to make a beer taste different. You can have the same beer presented 3 different ways, and it'll change the flavor profile.
Just because of the carbonation of it.
What gas you're using to push it out.
So next, so that was Sea Cow.
Yep.
Now we have another dark beer.
Yes, so this is our Sea Cow that we aged on coffee beans.
Oh, the first one was Sea Cow with lactose, right?
So same beer. So it has the lactose, all that. Same beer finish, we'll keg it, and then we'll age some of it on coffee beans. So same exact beer, the only addition is we let it sit on coffee beans for a couple of days. So that one you should get more of the coffee flavor.
No doubt.
And when we do our coffee treatments, we'll put the beans directly on the beer and kind of cold brew it that way.
There's so much coffee in it.
Yeah, a lot of coffee.
I wonder if I would have noticed that if you hadn't said it to me.
Yeah.
We're actually sitting downstairs at the bar, so that's the other people enjoying the beer here as well. You hear that?
So yeah, we love doing coffee additions.
So it's got caffeine and everything in there.
Some of the caffeine's probably brought over, not enough to actually do anything. So we're not making coffee and then blending it with the beer. We just have the beer sit on the beans. Yeah, so you get all the flavor, but you're not diluting the beer at all. So you're just getting that roast.
Is this
smell,
like
flavor.
your idea, or has it been done
Some
before?
people, there's kind of like a bunch of different ways to do coffee beers. A lot of people will do like a cold brew coffee and then blend it in. I kind of like it this way because you're not diluting the beer at all. So this is our style of beer.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, don't tell me what flavor this is supposed to be.
Okay. Sounds
I
good.
haven't seen the label. Will the label of what
Yeah.
it's called give away what the flavor is?
Yep.
Okay, so hang on.
No, it's Screamin' Reels. It's our IPA.
A Screamin' Reels.
Yeah.
Okay. No idea what this is supposed to taste like. It smells sweet, maybe appley. I'm way off. I can tell by his face. All right, I'm gonna try it.
Apple's close. It's a big citrus nose. You get kind of like grapefruit juice to it.
Yeah, definitely
it's,
fruity.
Yeah. So it's our IPA. So IPAs are cool. You can have every IPA will taste different because of what hop you're using. So there's a method called dry hopping, and that's after fermentation's done, you add hops into the fermenter and let the hops sit on the fermented beer, and it'll give you hop flavor and hop aroma. Cool thing about hops is each hop has a different flavor. So we're using Summit, which gives you like a lot of tangerine, so kind of that like tart citrus, and Columbus, which gives you a little bit earthy pine to it, which like the citrus overpowers the pine a little bit, but it's kind of there in the background. So you can have an
hops,
IPA.
you can get a citrusy hops. Oh,
Yeah.
what is hops exactly?
Hops is the plant that you use to like bitter the beer. It also adds like
It
flavor
grows
profile
like
to it.
wheat grows, or how does it grow?
It's actually it's related to marijuana. So
Ah,
yeah, it's a cannabis plant. So
interesting.
it's a viney plant. So if you go out into Oregon, New York, all that, they're on the fields, and the vines are growing up, and then they'll harvest them. And
Do people smoke hops?
no, probably wouldn't be good.
No?
I've never tried, so I don't know. I'm sure someone
Starting
has
your
tried
trend.
to do it.
I'm sure they
Yeah.
have. Right.
So it should be a little bitter. It's an IPA, so IPAs are usually bitter. So it dries
definitely.
it out a little
Yeah,
bit.
definitely
so
a
the
little
nose, nose you get more of that sweet tangerine smell.
But when you
try
hits
it,
your
it
mouth,
dries it out.
yeah. All right, I'm going back in for another one, but I got to save it for what's to come.
So next one is local ale. So this is our local ale. Really light, 3.7%.
Not much of a
Shouldn't
smell
get-
with this one.
You shouldn't get really much smell at all, and the flavor should, even though it's an ale, it should give you kind of like that American lager feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
So super light, crisp, kind of a boat beach
Yeah,
beer. that you
compared to
just-
this one,
Yeah.
the
Screaming.
screaming reels. This one is nothing.
Yeah, it's our super light, easy to drink, all day beer.
Okay, you can drink this all day.
Yep, 3.7%.
You said it. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's just like a refreshing beer you'd have at the beach or something like that. A nice aftertaste.
Yep. Yeah, it should be pleasant. There's no kind of offensive flavors to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just super easy drinking beer.
Yeah, the others didn't really leave an aftertaste. Maybe because the initial was so strong. I don't know. Okay.
So we took this beer and then we aged it on passion fruit. So
This one's a little bit musty looking. The other one's
Yeah.
crystal clear. This is kind of musty.
Clearer. So we filter locale, so it has this nice clear color to it. But then when we age the passion fruit, we don't filter it again because we want all that passion fruit flavor and aroma to be as intense as possible.
So you're getting your vitamins with this one as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we use all real passion
yeah.
fruit.
Smell
Yeah.
it. It doesn't smell like beer. It smells like just a fruity drink.
Yep. So it has the passion fruit flavor to it, a little bit of tartness from passion
Elderflower?
fruit.
No?
No, no elderflower. It's just the passion fruit and the base beer of the locale. But it's cool if you add fruit to stuff. Sometimes the hops will, like floral notes of the hops will get brought out with the fruit flavor. That usually they're kind of hidden behind everything else.
Yeah, it's got like a sharper taste to it too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We shoved a lot of passion fruit into it.
Really?
So, yeah.
And do you get like really ripe passion fruit, or is it like, would you eat it, or is it going beyond that stage?
No, yeah, we eat it.
And how long do you let the passion fruit sit on it?
Passion fruit on this beer we usually let sit for 4 days, and we kind of have it where we want it to be.
And it'll stay good in there, the passion fruit, or does it eventually just you have to
it's
throw
all
everything
cold.
out?
It sits cold, so we usually don't eat the passion fruit after. No, so it's all cold. So fermentation. This is all post-fermentation.
Okay.
Fermentation's done. We filter out all the yeast, and then it's sitting cold, so yeast won't really react at cold temperatures.
And you can just leave the fruit in there.
Yep. We put it into kind of like a nylon baggie and throw it in there and pull the baggie out.
And you're ready.
Yeah.
And you just leave it for 4 days.
Yep. Leave it in the baggie for 4 days, and we get all the fruit that we need.
Okay. Don't say anything about the next one.
The coffee one.
Sorry.
Coffee we let sit not as long. So when you let the coffee sit a little longer, sometimes I think you get like these peppery notes, which are good sometimes, but depending on the coffee.
How many times did you have to try this before you figured out how long to leave it?
We'll taste them as they sit.
It goes.
And after 2 days, we're like, this tastes great. So
out it comes. Yeah. Okay. Cool job. Okay.
So the next one.
Don't tell me.
Okay. Try it.
Again, in mild kind of beer, but not as mild as low ale. What's this one called? Will that give it away?
This is just our house ale.
Okay, it's house ale. Good.
So it should be
Again, that nice aftertaste. I like it.
So our house ale, we had some tank space open, so we just brewed a bigger, higher alcohol version of our low ale. So it's 5.6%.
So you add more sugar to make the alcohol go
just more
higher?
grain.
More grain.
Yeah. So exact same recipe, just higher amounts of everything. Okay. So we're gonna do a lot of like treatments on this, because like good base beer, higher alcohol, and so we're just using this to mess around and.
Very good.
Someone that it's kind of a thing about like light and normal strength. So
What are these two?
those two are kind of depending on what you liked. So we have if you like the coffee, we have a tart cherry coffee sea cow. So we age the sea cow on coffee and tart cherries.
Oh, I'll try
And
that.
then we can try a sour if you want to be adventurous.
All about adventure. Especially now after basically a beer.
Let me go.
How many do you have altogether?
Right now we have 18 on tap.
Whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, we'll start with the tart cherry. So we usually try to have our core beers, Screaming Reels, the low ale, and the sea cow. And then have some specialty stuff on it. So whenever someone comes in, should have a beer that we didn't have last week.
Okay, so you're always like switching.
Yep. So tart cherry. Cheers, Becca.
This is again, it's a dark Guinness looking beer. Definitely doesn't smell like Guinness, that's for sure.
No, yeah, a lot more aroma.
It smells, the aroma is, it's cherryish.
Yeah.
I don't smell the coffee in this one though, but there is coffee in it,
Yeah,
right?
there's coffee.
But no, the cherries overtook it.
Yeah, the cherry's very forefront in it, and the tart cherry, especially when you taste
That's
it too.
interesting.
You get this like biting into those dried tart cherries. A little bit of coffee gives a little bit of bitterness to mellow it out
I
somewhat.
don't like that one.
You don't like that one?
No.
Not your style?
No. It's making my mouth pucker.
Yeah, the tartness.
Does it do
definitely-
that?
Yeah,
It's- oh,
yeah, because
okay.
it's tart cherries, so it's like
Yeah, it
kind
actually
of,
is.
cherry Sour Patch Kid.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
Yep. It's kind of hard to stop drinking because like
Yeah, because you
it's
keep
so
on
tart.
want to investigate it too.
and
it's
like
so
it dries
tart.
everything out, and then you're like, I need another sip.
Yeah.
And then,
All right, Dustin Jeffers, thank you so much for your
of course.
hospitality. And that was quite an experience, and I'm feeling very happy. So, all right, you take care.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you so
too.
much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Our aim at Street Invest is to put a trustworthy adult into the lives of street children so that they can support them in creating the most positive paths for their lives in the future. We work around the world, working on the street with the children where they are. For such a large group of children, the amount of funding available is tiny. Really, the funding that keeps organisations like Street Invest going comes from individual donors. Street children are the most abused, neglected, violated children, yet they are also the most resourceful, responsive and resilient children that we could have the honour of working with.
For more information or to make a donation, visit streetinvest.org.